If your goal is to use visual thinking to be a better learner, problem solver, and communicator, then you need some tools to work with. And that's what I'd like to chat about in this video today. Visual thinking tool selection, and specifically deciding between analog versus digital tools. There are great options in both categories, and I use each throughout the day. And my goal here is to share some ideas and some questions to help you think through what might be the best fit for you. Let's start with the analog side as I draw out one of my favorite mark making tools, the Pentel Energel 0.5. And a basic sketchbook here. The reason I think you might want to lean in the analog direction is if what's important to you is feel and focus. As good as some of the digital tools have become, there's nothing that quite compares to the feel and the sound and the look of an actual marker sketching and writing things out on a piece of paper. It feels different to work this way compared to using a stylus to write on a piece of glass. Even if that glass has some nice texture to it and the responsiveness of the app is super high, it doesn't quite feel the same. I also find that with analog tools, there's a degree of focus that comes with the work that you don't get when you're working digitally. That's because with a digital tool, you likely have a bunch of other apps that you could switch over to. You're reminded of the weather right now, of what else is on your calendar. You might even have notifications coming in. There's a little bit too much of an opportunity for distraction when working digitally that you don't get if you just have a notebook and a pen. So your ability to maintain your focus on the thing that you're learning or the problem that you're trying to solve or the idea that you want to share with others, you're able to enter and stay in that state of deep focus easier and longer. I'll share some of the specific tools that I use in a moment here, but for now, note that if feel and focus are a high priority for you, then you might want to go with some analog tools. So what then makes digital tools stand out? Because they have gotten really good, both from the stylus end of things as far as what they're able to do, how they feel, and the tablet and app selection out there, and the different types of tools that you might find within a given app. What makes these digital tools stand out are their features and the flexibility of what you can do with the marks that you make. First, let's talk about features. What's really cool and powerful about a digital device is that with just one single tool and even one single app, you have all of these different features available to you. Different types of pens and pencils and highlighters and erasers and lasso tools so that you can pick words or images and move them around. You can even record the note-taking process so that you can play it back like a movie and even listen to the lecture that you were taking notes on. There's flexibility because you can save that note within the app itself. You can email it to yourself or a friend. You can post it to social media. You can copy and paste into another creative app. You can export it to a PDF, save it on the device itself or in cloud storage. There is more flexibility with what you do with those marks. So if those features and that type of flexibility are more important to you than the feel and the focus that might come with analog tools, that's a reason to go in the digital direction. And in a moment, I will share my two favorite apps. But first, no matter which type of tool you use, the thing that I really want you to focus on and consider is which tool combination allows you to enter a state of flow. And this concept of flow was originally developed by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi and has also been popularized by Steven Kotler in the area of high performance. And it kind of has two meanings that I want you to consider here. The first being what allows you to become in the zone. So this has to do with a degree of focus and the ability to immerse yourself in the work almost to the point where you don't really notice time passing by, which can happen with digital tools as well, especially once you get over the hump of learning how a particular tool works. getting comfortable with an app and all of its tool selections, so you don't really have to think about where to find the next tool that you want to use. It just all becomes more intuitive. If you're able to get in the zone in that way with the digital tool, then rock on, keep doing it. If that state of flow is easier to achieve with pen and paper, then maybe go in that direction. But it's not just the in-the-moment experience that I encourage you to consider. I also encourage you to think about your overall workflow. So here, it's not just about the experience of being in the zone while you're capturing marks on the page. It's more about, what do you do with that visual artifact next? Will it be shared with other people? Is it just for you? Where do you want to store it? What type of reflection might you want to do tomorrow or in 3 months or a year from now? So here's where you think about kind of the lifespan of whatever it is that you're working on. So even if you're working analog, it is pretty easy to snap a photo with your phone, store it either right there on your device or upload it to someplace like Notion, maybe write a little caption, but that is a little bit of an extra step compared to what you get from an app, knowing that all your work is gonna be there. You can scroll through it easily and you can send it anywhere you want. So generally, I would say that with analog tools, I find it easier to get into the zone, and with digital tools, that tends to facilitate your overall workflow a little bit more, but there is plenty of crossover as well. You can get in the zone with digital tools and you can find a way for analog to fit into your overall workflow. And here's the good news. You don't have to pick just one set of tools to work with. You can use a different set of materials for each type of task you engage in throughout your day or for each discrete project that you're working on. For example, I like to start my day working with a very low-cost tool combination that you have likely used at some point in your life, and that is the simple and cheap composition notebook, along with my Pentel Energel pen. I started using this type of journal here, I think as a follow-up to reading, or at least browsing through the book Syllabus by Linda Berry, which even if you don't read this cover to cover but flip through it, you will get inspired. And what I appreciate about this type of notebook is the non-pretentiousness of it. I don't feel like I have to treat any individual page with any sort of respect. There's no pressure that I'm using up this very fancy, expensive material, because my goal is just to get ideas out of my head and onto the page so that I can do something else with them later. This morning journaling is where I develop a lot of the ideas that might make it into a video like this one, or a course that I'm working on, or a book that I'm writing. In a lot of ways, it's the hardest work that I do that requires the most focus and benefits from a certain feel to the experience. This is the first thing that I do when I enter this office space in the morning. I even have a little seated work area over there. I even take my shoes off, and I have this experience of getting immersed in that work as I attempt to pull ideas from my own experience, from things I've read or seen or heard from other people, and make something that ends up being valuable for someone else. I also really enjoy using, I think it's 9 by 12 inch blank paper that has a little bit of thickness to it. And again, my Pentel Energel for when I am working on sketch notes of a book. Typically my process is to read a book and underline it and make some notes in the margin. I do that all the way through, and then I come back with sheets of paper that are this size. I usually do get a sketch pad, so these have a little bit of weight to them. It's not just printer paper, though you could use that. This is a case where I do like having a little bit of weight. Sometimes because I do use the front and back, I try to do kind of one piece of paper per chapter, ideally even just one side, but sometimes I do need to use both sides for a particular chapter. And then once I've done that for all the chapters, I can kind of lay out all of these sheets of paper and pick out the ideas that I might want to emphasize if I'm making a video summarizing that book. And I want to get everything onto one big piece of poster paper. this part of the process is a low pressure way to get the ideas out of the book into something that I've created that helps me to then kind of internalize and integrate those ideas into something like a one-page visual summary. So let's call this sketchbook paper. And I feel like this often I purchase it as kind of just a spiral bound notebook, but that has the kind of tearaway pages to it. I think I found that to be the cheapest way to get this material. And then a third example is in the digital category, and it is an app that is called Notability, which is the one that I use most frequently these days. It has a limited but still versatile tool selection. I feel like there are, 5 or 6 quick access ones at the top, which there is kind of a balance that you want to look out for when you're choosing between different apps. You want them to have enough features for you to do what you want to do, but not so many that you're spending way too much time in tool selection instead of making marks on the page. And I tend to set up my page where it's kind of a horizontal frame, and there's kind of a page by page flow to it. So instead of having the infinite vertical scroll, I like kind of maintaining a little bit of the feel of working with a journal or individual pieces of paper. I like being able to swipe left to right to get to a new page or go back to a previous one. That helps me kind of stay in this state of flow because it's a little bit closer to the analog experience. And I like to use this tool when I am hosting an online workshop, because in this situation, I am engaged in this experience with other people in real time in a digital format, typically on Zoom. And while you can set up a camera like this and do pen and paper sketching in that digital environment, I find it easier to stay in a state of flow in those conversations with the digital tool, like an iPad in the app Notability, partially because I can have kind of all those screens in the same place. I'll have my laptop up with Zoom and then my iPad, so I can be sketching things out and talking to the people that are part of that call. I can see their faces. And from an image quality perspective, I find that sharing my iPad screen results in a better quality image and a better experience for the workshop participants compared to using something like a mirrorless camera. Even if it's HD quality, when it goes through the whole zoom process, this would look a lot more pixelated than it does for this YouTube video. And in those conversations, I like having the ability to erase and lasso things and move them around, to have that instant editability that you don't get with analog tools that helps serve the purpose behind that particular activity. So that's what you want to keep in mind as well. Consider ultimately what you want to achieve with the note-taking that you're doing and which tool combination allows you to get to that purpose, stay close to it, and achieve it as easily or efficiently as possible. And in this case, when I'm done, I like being able to do a quick export of that image so that I can share it along with the replay of that workshop. While I really appreciate the simplicity and kind of stripped down tool that you find in Notability, I also sometimes use Concepts, which is an infinite canvas app. If I want to gather a lot of ideas on one page and I want to make sure I have as much real estate, digitally speaking, as possible, Concepts is a great tool for that. And on the analog side, I also use index cards for quick little checklists or to-do lists, and for brainstorming ideas up on the wall or making videos like this. I enjoy these large post-it notes. And in this case, for this video, I'm using a Sharpie flip chart marker. And I will say that this question of tool selection, how you apply them to different projects, I think you can expect that to change fairly regularly. I do encourage you to kind of home in on one set of materials and get comfortable with them to the point where you can enter a state of flow, but also know that there might come a point where you either get bored with a particular routine or tool set, or your conditions change to the point where you might want to experiment with something new. And when that time comes, with your experimentation, what you're on the lookout for is flow. What helps you to enter and stay in a state of flow, in the zone, and what supports your overall workflow that allows for the work that you create to serve its purpose. If you're into these types of discussions, and if you want to get better at making marks for use as a learning, problem-solving, and communication tool, then check out all the resources at verbaltovisual.com. Whether you just want to build these skills yourself as a lifelong learner, or if you work in a setting, in a workplace where bringing this type of skill set into your meetings or your discussions and your planning sessions, I've got some custom workshops that I'd love to bring to you and your team. If you have some favorite tools that I didn't mention in the analog or digital category, we'd love to hear about them, because this very much is kind of a personal question. So I encourage you to share your favorite tools and maybe a tiny bit about how you use them in the comments below this video. That'll be a great resource for others who stumble upon this video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember that it's less about what specific tools you use and more about how you use them. So don't stress out about this question. And when in doubt, find whatever you have on hand and get your ideas out. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.